Ooh, we are live. All right. Let's get this out. This is going to be my first time doing this. This is something that absolutely means a lot. Let's see how it goes. It's baseball. Not a lot of people love baseball. The goal of this is to get people to love baseball. Let's see if we can get some people to join. Mike sounds good. Mike sounds spicy. Let's go. Let's get this to Facebook. Fine Monday night. I cannot wait for opening day, man. This season's going to be fun. All right, so we got it out there. Let's see. Someone made a hot dog remix. Mickey Mouse? Anybody? All right. On this fine Monday night. Okay. Yes, sir. We are live. We are live. Let me do a whole bunch of stuff there. Let's see who is up, who is on. Reposting this out to everybody. And then, whoops. Meant to go live on Instagram. We are live as well. Not expecting a big audience. It's just baseball, you know what I mean? But hopefully we can get a couple people in here. Let's see what we got going on. I know I started like 15 minutes late. All right, that posted. Everything posted. Let's see what we got. Yes, sir. We got a live crowd. Let's see who wants. Let's see who wants to talk it up. Talk it up. At about 5 minutes, I'm gonna do the introduction. We're just gonna keep this ball rolling. Every Monday night at 9 o'clock, we are going to stream. Every Monday night. And this is a beginning for us, so we will see. Sharing it everywhere I can. Let's see what we got. Either which way, we got some content. I will talk to nobody if I have to. Just like a normal episode, we can do that too. Let's see what we got going on. Did that not go live? Supposed to say I'm live on Instagram. What is going on? Let's see. Still at 0. That is fine by me. This is all part of the journey, fellas. This is something new. We're jumping into the abyss. We're doing something brand new. About to get started right here, right now. I can figure out why Instagram is not working. Let's find out. That's my only issue, that Instagram's live is not working. It is working. Okay. It just doesn't show me on my end. Okay. Cool. All right, I'll give it at least another couple minutes. Let's see. Just gotta stay locking in, man. All right. It's funny that the first spring training night game ended up being a tie. Yes, sir. All right, just one more minute, and then we're gonna begin. Then we're gonna figure all of this out, this big puzzle here. We're starting in about 30 seconds. There you go. Right, actually, I'm gonna get some water real quick, then we'll start. All right. All right, everyone, and welcome to a different baseball live stream. This can be episode 1. We are here February 23rd, 2026, live on a Monday night. I hope that everyone got their week started strong. We're live right now on X. We're live right now on Instagram. We are live right now on YouTube. So for anyone out there, make sure you like, subscribe, leave some comments, get interactive. We're going to be doing this every single Monday night, just sitting back, and we're going to be talking about some baseball. So any comments, go ahead and leave them in the chat, and let's get right into this. So what are we doing here? Let's start that off in general. So baseball is a beautiful sport. However, not a lot of people love baseball or love seeing baseball mixed into their basketball and their football news. So what I decided to do was take baseball out of the equation for the main channel, give it its own channel, give it its own life, give it its own breath. And my main goal here is to just basically show the beauty of baseball, talk about it, cover it all year long, truly get very deep inside of it. We're talking, we're talking fantasy, we're talking, live games, we're talking about going to games, we're talking about, MLB The Show. We're really gonna dive deep into baseball this year. We're gonna see where this goes. Right now, as we're talking, I have 0 live viewers, but guess what? That is all a part of the grind. That is all a part of the show. That is all about what it takes to succeed in this industry. Sometimes we get a few viewers, sometimes we don't. But no matter what, we're going to keep building, we're going to keep grinding. We are going to turn this into something special. Just want to talk about me. How did I get into baseball? So it was pretty simple. I loved baseball from the moment I laid my eyes on it. As a kid, my family was kind of not big, but like there was a bunch of them back when I was a kid. Not so much, as I got older. But they would watch the Yankees religiously. There were a lot of big Yankee fans, some Mets fans, a couple of stray Red Sox fans. And the first game that at least I remember watching, I was probably in front of the TV watching before, but that I remember was that Red Sox Yankees ALCS, where the Red Sox did make that marvelous comeback. I mean, that was awesome. Like, just, seeing everyone yell at the TV. I'm kind of hearing about what happened. It was nice to, kind of troll my family because they were Yankees fans. I was such a troll when I was younger. But at the end of the day, that's how that kind of started. Started watching a lot of baseball after that, starting to understand it. I think during that ALCS, I was 6 or 7. So yeah, I've loved baseball first, and then it kind of grew from there. Started playing the video games, started learning who literally every single player was, for better or for worse. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got into baseball. So I'm obviously, as you guys can see, Washington Nationals fan, but I'm not going to be biased, and there's no reason to be. Imagine being a Washington Nationals fan right now. I'm joking. There's a lot of good things on the horizon for the Washington Nationals. Hopefully, I mean, it's been a lot of misery. It's been a lot of hardship. It's been a lot of, it's been a lot of tough times for the Washington Nationals ever since they won the World Series. But, I live in New York, so I'm around a lot of Yankees fans, a lot of Mets fans, Red Sox fans, everything that comes with living up north. The Washington Nationals, though, when I was young and I had to pick a team, my family was like Yankees, Mets, and I basically just sat there and I chose the Washington Nationals as a troll because they were new. My family kind of was talking, trash about them because the Expos were so bad. And then they got replaced by the Washington Nationals at the time. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into baseball and being a Nationals fan, because that troll, I kind of just kept going on with it all the way to the point where, I was crying in 2012 when the Nationals got their heart broken, all the way to 2017 being depressed for 3 weeks after we lost. And I drove. So for when the Nationals won the World Series in 2019, I drove from New York there to get there by the game, which was at night. So I drove all day. It was an 8-hour drive, or like 7.5, 7. I was driving fast. I was pretty young. I was 20. I think I was 20, almost 21. Or I think I was 21, almost 22. Either which way, the wild card game, I drove all the way there for it. Virginia is beautiful to drive through, by the way. That area. And yeah, it was one of the greatest times of my life. That Juan Soto hit to win the game, Steven Strasburg coming out of the bullpen and being absolutely nails. I mean, it was nuts afterwards. There's a club across the street that Ryan Zimmerman owns, so there was a lot of players coming through, had a few drinks. Admittedly, I did have to drive after that, so that was the thing. I drove all the way there, went through the entire epic game, had some drinks after, talked to people after, and then after that, I drove all the way home. And I tried to drive home immediately, kept having to pull over because I felt like I was going to fall asleep behind the wheel. One of the worst drives ever was my drive back from that. But it's one of the greatest moments of my life because it's something I decided to do by myself. I always normally do things with people. That's why like jumping on this stream has been, it's been a task. But yeah, so here we are, Washington Nationals. Baseball means the world to me. I love baseball. I've played baseball. I've played baseball video games growing up, watched baseball. I've watched so much baseball, covered baseball. We're covering it fully this year. I'm going to college in the second semester this year, the fall semester, to go back for journalism to continue to pursue this career here. And yeah, this is kind of where it all starts. This is going to be a video that, maybe we can look back on and laugh at, where I had 0 viewers and then I end up with 1 million viewers one day. But yeah, this is where we are. We're going to talk about some baseball. Let's go. Why don't we go on some recent headlines? Let me go ahead and share my screen. We're going to share this one, MLB.com. So what I normally want to do is I just want to kind of go to the homepage of MLB.com, kind of go through the headlines, make some conversation about it. Let me add my screen share to the stage. So yeah, I mean, this is the very latest news. I got to find a way to filter out some major news. Maybe we can go to ESPN. Let's go to ESPN. Let's see, but they barely, they don't even have MLB on the front page anymore. Oh my God, that is so bad, y'all. They literally don't have MLB on the front anymore. All right, so yeah, Tariq Skubal is only going to make, let me actually share this tab instead. So yeah, Tariq Skubal making just one start for the United States. I am glad that is the first headline that pops up because that is something I definitely wanted to talk about. So he says he's only going to make one start for the U.S. He's trying to pitch for Team USA, and he's also trying to be that guy that the Detroit Tigers need. So he's gonna make one start and pool play to try to get them through. He's not going to play the important, stressful games. He's not going to do any of that. And I might have an underrated opinion here. A lot of people hate it, but I like that Skubal is doing this. I mean, this is his free agent year. How pitchers have gone, how much Tommy John surgeries that, kind of have taken place and everything that's happened with the pitcher. Skubal, more power to him. He's just trying to protect his arm. He got invited. He said, yes, he'll show up. He'll make a start. We'll see what happens. But when it does come to Skubal, he does have a lot of millions of dollars that he's playing for this year. Because the thing is if he goes and he has a good year this year, he's going to either get extended by the Detroit Tigers or some other team. And that's going to set up his family for generations and generations to come. So I don't think anyone should have any hate on this. They really got to think about things. Like, a lot of people will sit here and criticize athletes for the decisions that they make in terms of money, in terms of what they like winning, everything that comes important in sports. But they really criticize these players when they take that seriously. Like when Kevin Durant goes, to the Golden State Warriors, when Alex Rodriguez signs a record deal with the Texas Rangers, to now Skubal trying to protect his arm. I mean, a lot of players have done this in the past, maybe not to the extent where they just start once in the World Baseball Classic. But if you remember in the past, Garrett Crochet protected himself at the end of an entire season for Chicago to make sure that he could get to the point where he makes money. Because this isn't little money. This is millions and millions of dollars that they make, and all the taxes that they have to pay and fees and stuff. So every dollar does count in regards to that. So I just wanted to get that out there. I fully support Skubal with the decision that he's made to play once. Maybe I feel like a little of me feels like maybe he shouldn't pitch at all then. But they really want him on that team. They really want him in that, that clubhouse. So we'll see what happens there with that situation. So the next one is that, and I think I look this, yeah. So Buster Olney ranked the top 10 third baseman, and I want to see this list real quick. So he has Jose Ramirez, obviously, at number 1. I feel like that's non-debatable for, baseball. Jose Ramirez is clearly the number first third baseman, so we don't have to do that. But I see some interesting things here. So Junior Caminero, they have at number 2. I mean, yeah, listen. I love Junior Caminero, but I think me, just like everybody else that watches baseball, wants to see what happens when he's in Tropicana. There's going to be home and road splits that everyone's going to be paying attention to. I have not seen a younger player. Well, I mean, we've obviously seen younger players get scrutinized, but Caminero has been kind of ran through the dirt a little bit for his amazing home and road splits, because he was an insane hitter at home, where on the road he was one of the worst hitters in baseball. So we'll see. But Buster has number 3 with Alex Bregman, number 4 Manny Machado. I see we are having a couple of viewers join in. What's up? How's everyone doing? Make sure you guys subscribe from wherever you guys are watching from. We're talking baseball on a lovely Monday night, freshly shaved, ready to go for you guys. So so we're going over Buster Olney's top 10 third baseman. Let's see if he knows ball. So it's Jose Ramirez, Caminero, Alex Bregman, Manny Machado, Michael Garcia, Matt Chapman, Bo Bichette, Max Muncy, Austin Riley, and Carlos Correa. Okay, honorable mentions: Westberg, Barger, Durbin, Shaw, Brian Hayes, Bohm, Ryan McMahon, Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, he probably will be a big DH out there in Cincinnati, especially because they got Brian Hayes. So yeah. I don't think this is a terrible list. My issue is Bo Bichette. I think the biggest issue I have is Bo Bichette at number 7 and Manny Machado at number 4. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Manny Machado did anything to drop from. To a lot of people, he was the best third baseman at one time. I don't think he's better than Jose Ramirez, but at the end of the day, yeah, last year he still hit 27 home runs, 95 RBIs, top 16 MVP, stole 14 bases, 275 batting average, 795 OPS. So nothing terrible, but like the thing with Manny Machado is he's been consistent. He's played mostly every single game of his career after suffering the major injuries that he did early on in Baltimore when he was young. And he's really taken care of his body. Like, people got to understand, he's at 369 home runs, 2,069 hits, and he still appears that there's no drop off. I mean, like, if you look at his last 5 seasons, there is not a drop off at all, almost. I mean, batting average has gone down a little bit, but he averages per season 29 home runs and 100 RBIs, with 4 WAR every season, 277 batting average. There's no way he's anywhere but second. I'm sorry. I love Junior Caminero. I know Alex Bregman, busts his ass out there on the field, but I don't think there's any world where Manny Machado isn't the second best baseman in MLB. And I think it's disrespectful not to really put him up there. I mean, this article even says it. He's climbing the list of the best third baseman of all time. He didn't have really a down year. Bregman has had down years. He's had injuries. Caminero with the home and road splits last year, that him at number 2. I love Caminero. Don't get me wrong. Again, I love Junior Caminero, but putting him at number 2 is insane. But whatever, that's ESPN. And then Bo Bichette at number 7. We've seen him out there. He has not really been a third baseman in his career, and now that he is, it's looking rough so far in spring. I don't think he should have even sniffed this list. Austin Riley under Max Muncy is absolutely insane. I get Chapman and Michael, very underrated players, 5 and 6. I think that's good for them. But I mean, wow, Max Muncy even on this list, and then to be, ahead of Austin Riley. I mean, his best stat was a silly slash line against righties. That's not even that great of a slash line. Correa at 10th, that's cool. And then Westberg's already hurt, but I mean, it happens. So we'll see. I mean, I respect the list. I expect like 2 or 3 names to be different there. But not the worst list, I don't think. Just very crucial about the Manny Machado being so low on the list choice there. So let's see here. So Michael Conforto signed with the Cubs. Okay. So he signed a minor league deal with the Cubs. Hmm. You know, it's a good deal. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they signed him to a minor league contract. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, he hit just 199 for the Dodgers when they won the World Series last year. Um, he does have a lot of pop left in his bat. Maybe he could find the batting average. I know not a lot of people care about batting average anymore, but if you have a low batting average, that tells me what I need to know. That like you didn't hit well, on the season. I think it still tells us that. But let's see if the Cubs can revive him. I mean, there's been revivals in the sport before. We know Conforto got that dog in him, even though it's been several years. But yeah, I mean, we can move on to a different topic. So yeah, Tyro Estrada to the Orioles, please. Oh, they did. Okay, that's cool. That's a great signing for the Baltimore Orioles. I love Tyro Estrada. Okay. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for hot recent headlines. Juan Soto said that he wanted to beat Shohei Ohtani for the most valuable player. Do I think it can happen? I absolutely do think it can happen. Is Shohei the best hitter in the National League? I believe so. I think the thing that is a little weird about Shohei is that obviously when you do both pitching and hitting, a lot can happen. We've seen him get injured often in his career. If we're being straight up honest about Shohei Ohtani, he has gotten injured often when he does both the hitting and the pitching. When he did just the hitting, we've seen just how sensational of a hitter he can actually be. He returned to pitching last year. And yeah, I mean, more power to him. I don't think I'm saying stop pitching. I just think there's a high risk for injury when he is doing both from start to finish, especially, he's gotten older. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions with that as they get down the road. Maybe they do a 6-person rotation. Maybe he only goes every other round in the rotation. But I do think Juan Soto, I mean, call me crazy. Juan Soto can beat Shohei Ohtani for MVP. Real quick, like looking at his stats from last year, remember when he had the down year? Everyone was roasting Juan Soto, bad year, blah, 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 not worth the money. He still finished third in MVP and in MVP voting. He finished third. 43 home runs, 150 or 105 RBIs, 38 stolen bases. So that he was damn near 40 for 40. He led the NL in stolen bases. On top of that, he led the entire Major League Baseball with 127 walks, which he's done 4 times before. And then he led the NL in on-base percentage with 396. Still had an OPS of a 921. If anybody else had this year besides our premier hitters in this league, everyone would be going bananas. This would be one of the best years of all time for someone like Cody Bellinger. You know what I'm saying? Like Christian Yelich, like when they had their one-off great years. But this isn't a one-off great year either. Like he does this consistently. He has the best eye in baseball. His power swing is getting better and better year by year. He's hitting in the 40s for home runs. Let's also remind ourselves that Juan Soto is 27 years old. I watched this guy bring my team to a World Series at age 20 and win the World Series at age 20. So with him being 27 years old, he has a lot to go. He's already at 244 home runs. He's already at 1,086 hits. I feel like that projection would put him somewhere around 28, 29, even 3,000 hits. But home run record, I don't think that's out the window. He's 27. He's very durable. I mean, he hasn't missed many games at all since 2020. And it's kind of crazy that that's what cost him the MVP, was missing those 13 games of the 60-game season. He probably would have had an MVP right now if he didn't miss those, random few games. But at the end of the day, yeah, no, Juan Soto, I absolutely do believe he can win the MVP over Shohei Ohtani. But I don't think there's many more people. I mean, if one has a down year, one gets hurt, they both get hurt. They both have down years. We'll see. But it normally, if Shohei pitches and hits, he's automatically in MVP consideration. I do think, though, Juan Soto's time is coming, and I cannot wait for him to win MVP. He's one player I have supported undoubtedly his entire career, because that guy is naturally talented. And I wish people, and I wish he didn't go to the Mets. I wish he didn't go to the Mets. He could have had such a better rep if he didn't go to the Mets, but we'll see. Speaking of, Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers, the salary cap, I wanted to talk about that a little bit too, because that has been big for baseball. This whole salary cap thing. With that, it's been nuts. It looks like we might not even have a baseball season next year. Like, there might be a work stoppage for the MLB if they can't come up with any kind of deal or anything in the off season. So with that, I think MLB shouldn't have a salary cap. I think there should be a salary floor. I like the way it is now. With the, if you spend so much money, if your owner pays off his tab, that's what it is. There's not too many millionaires out there that want to lose so much money, unless they're the Dodgers, and that's the chance that you take. Salary cap, I mean, I feel like there should be heavier penalties for going over the luxury tax and stuff like that, to really steer teams from getting up there. But at the end of the day, the real problem is the cheap owners. Those guys are the real actual problem. I feel like if you aren't spending money, you aren't trying to build a good baseball team, I feel like there should be something that owners should be able to get stripped of their teams in baseball, because what they're doing is they're kind of forcing, because these guys don't spend and the Dodgers spend all this money and the Yankees and the Padres and all that, those cheap owners are going to ruin it for basically everybody getting the salary cap installed, because with a salary cap, you're talking about a lot of players aren't going to get paid as much anymore. These players with big contracts, it's going to be nasty. Over time, players are going to be out of jobs because people aren't going to want to spend that, $5 million, $10 million on a player who's trying to, stay in the league. So we're going to see players' careers get cut as well from a salary cap. I just want a salary floor. I want to see, the Pirates they finally spent this offseason, but imagine if they had spent every other offseason, at least a minimum. Like the Baltimore Orioles, they spent this offseason. Imagine if they had to spend, like the Rockies, all of that, the Washington Nationals, my Washington Nationals. The owners got to stop being cheap, because like I said, if these teams can spend and there's a whole lot of good baseball teams, fun baseball teams, then that's what will attract more eyes to the sport. But you have the Dodgers, who have basically manipulated the system. It's not cheating. They just took advantage of the dumb mistakes that the rest of the league made. Oh, the Braves, they wanted to play around with Freddie Freeman. The Dodgers swooped right in and got Freddie Freeman. Mookie Betts, oh, you guys want to trade Mookie Betts and a salary dump of David Price? Of course we'll take one of the most generational hitters of all time. It's literally just them taking advantage of the stupidity of the league. That's all it is. Kyle Tucker, anyone could have given him that 4-year lucrative deal. It's a bad deal on paper. Everyone's just complaining because it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. If the Chicago Cubs gave Kyle Tucker that deal, it would have been one of the worst deals in history. Let's be real. I like Kyle Tucker. I just don't think he has shown that he was worthy of a 10-year whatever deal, and especially not the deal that he got. But it's the Dodgers, so everybody hates it. And then, with the Shohei Ohtani thing, everyone had a chance to get him. They somehow convinced him to defer all of his money till basically after he's done playing baseball, which is a marvelous idea when you kind of really look at it. I mean, Shohei Ohtani makes so much money in sponsorships already that he doesn't need that MLB salary probably until after he retires. So they probably laid that out to him in the most marvelous way. But Yeah, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are about to three-peat, and again, it's not because they cheated. It's not because they cheated the system. It's not because they did anything. It's literally because they outsmarted the league. So I want to give a top 5 of teams that I think can stop the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's clever. I know. I had to dive right into that. But why don't we look at it? Why don't we check it out? 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. See, we got a few more people in there. How is everybody doing? Thank you for joining. If I can get the standings to pull up. Regular season. All right. So teams that I think can beat the Dodgers. I'm looking at this list. Let's see. 1, 2, and again, I know the Dodgers are basically pretty much unbelievable. But if I had a top 5, I think we're going to be shooting for the Toronto Blue Jays in a rematch. I feel like the New York Yankees, if they can get there healthy. The Seattle Mariners, if they can get there healthy. The Mets didn't. I don't think they did enough pitching wise. What's the Mets going in with this season for their starting pitchers? Because I actually didn't pay too much attention to them in the offseason. I don't think they made big splashes besides Freddie Peralta. Okay, so they got Freddie Peralta, Nolan McLean, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga. If Senga could bounce back, man, and they got a cool bullpen, all right, I think I can put them on the list. All right. So if I had to make a list of the 5 teams that I think can stop this historic Los Angeles Dodgers three-peat, on the lowest, number 5, I have the San Diego Padres. And for no other reason besides they're a divisional rival. If they meet in the playoffs, it'll be exactly how it has been the last couple times that they have met in the playoffs. It'll be loud. The players are going to be bickering at each other. It's going to be tense. It's going to be a whole different atmosphere. And I think to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers, that's kind of what you need to do. You need to find ways to shake them up. You need to find ways to shake the atmosphere. You need to find ways to get into their head. Even if, like, God forbid, Shohei Ohtani goes down, God forbid Mookie Betts goes down, they still have a lot of depth. They have a lot of players. They have a lot of money. So I don't think, that will hinder them too much. But the Padres, on the other hand, that's the thing. They're a little shaky. I don't know exactly if I like what they got going on over there, but at the end of the day, it's division rival love. I think if the Padres met up with the Dodgers, it's going to be a classic like they have for the last couple of times. Now, the second team, I was looking at their depth chart. I think it's going to be the New York Mets, that right there at number 4. And these are just NL teams because I think the Dodgers, at the very least, will get to the World Series and get to defend this three-peat and try to get it to go through. But I think the Mets can. I think they're going to be very active at the trade deadline. They injected a lot of different guys into this, like Bo Bichette, Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, Luis Robert Jr. They've plugged a lot in. I like how different it is, because they're not, they got rid of Jeff McNeil, guys like that I don't think were really necessarily too productive. Brandon Nimmo, cool baseball player. I think he'll be fine for the Rangers. But I don't know, man. Like those guys, like hell of a job getting these guys. Like over Jeff McNeil and Nimmo, I like Semien and Bichette. I'm sorry. And Luis Robert, you never know. I think the change of scenery from the Chicago White Sox, he's going to be hitting missiles. I think it's going to be entertaining. Or, he could just be the next Jason Bay for the Mets. Who knows? But I do like that their starting rotation, very underrated. Freddie Peralta ranked as the 14th best pitcher last year. Nolan McLean, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga. I think if Senga can and Manaea can, come back to the way they were before they got hurt last year and the year before, I think they'll be fine. I wonder how far this Clay Holmes thing is going to go for them. If he can continue being a starter, I thought he did all right last year. But if he has to go to the bullpen, a bullpen of Clay Holmes, Luke Weaver, and Devin Williams, all former Yankees, is pretty impressive. And then they got a whole bunch of other stuff like Tobias Myers and Luis Garcia. They got Tyler McGill injured. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think Tyler McGill's even going to factor into anything this year. I think he's out for the year. But that's number 4. So teams that I think could beat the Dodgers this year: 5 Padres, 4 New York Mets. That's it for the NL. Going to the AL for the top 3. And this was kind of difficult because I have 4 teams, so I'm trying to kind of shave one. I did say I did make an interesting take that I do think the Detroit Tigers. I'm going to put them there at number 3. I think the Detroit Tigers are going to absolutely be there. Just for the simple fact that Tariq Skubal is going to be pitching out of his mind. He's going to want to get another contract, a big contract, as I mentioned earlier in the episode. So I think their rotation is going to be very, very anchored, especially with Fat Framber joining. Let me look at their depth chart real quick. Their hitting is mostly coming back to what it was. But yeah, it's gonna be Skubal, Framber, Flaherty, Justin Verlander, Casey Mize, a lot of prospects. Jackson Joby might come back at some point this season. And then bullpen, they bring in Kenley Jansen, which I love, to shore off that bullpen because you got guys like Will Vest, Kyle Finnegan, to be back there. So they got a team. They'll have a trade deadline. We'll see what they can do. I undoubtedly think that at least they have a chance. They showed a lot of fight, a lot of grit last year, and that's something that's hard to build in a clubhouse such as the Detroit Tigers. But Hinch got them balling. Number 2, I have the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, they were there last year. They have improved heavily. If you have been following them in spring training, they are having a smooth spring training. They're seeing a lot of good things out of several guys over there. As I'm pulling up their depth chart, I didn't really like their offseason too much, but when you make it to the World Series, that is a core group of guys that are going to remember that, and it's going to be talked about for years to come. But most importantly, it's the camaraderie that was built off that, and including the fact that they did make some cool upgrades. I think Varsho being healthy this whole year will help them too. I love Jesus Sanchez and Okamoto, both who have shown they are looking good in spring. Andres Jimenez at the bottom of that lineup, and then they got all their depth that they had last year. They have guys that are going to be like Anthony Sandair is going to come back in the middle of the year. Hopefully he can give them something because that contract's not looking good. But for starters, Gosman, Cease, Yasavage, Barrios. At some point, Shane Bieber is going to come back. It's still scary. Their bullpen a little shaky. They didn't address it too much, but that is why my number 1 team that I think can beat the Dodgers, who I think have a good shot at the World Series in general, is the Seattle Mariners. They have had the same starting rotation for a few years now of Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, and Bryce Miller. Another year of all those guys being together. They're all 25 plus. They're all, entering their prime. Luis Castillo probably coming out of his prime a little bit, but he still showed some good stride. Like Luis Castillo was a good pitcher last year, shockingly. I thought that was going to be, a big decline there, but Andres Munoz, one of the best closers in baseball, is still going to be there, but he's going to be backed up this time. He's going to have Jose Ferrer. He's going to have Matt Brash again. He's going to have all those guys that they had. Logan Evans, he just had Tommy John surgery last month, which is tough. He could have probably contributed out of that bullpen. Maybe even Emerson Hancock could come and, produce out of that bullpen. He's still in the organization. But mainly what I like is I still like their hitting. They acquired Brendan Donovan to kind of be a replacement for Eugenio Suarez. Cal Riley coming off of a near MVP campaign. Julio Rodriguez, who was my prediction for the AL MVP this season. Josh Naylor, who's comfortable, extended. He's going to be there. Is he extended? No. My apologies. I think he's still on arbitration, maybe. But either which way, Victor Robles, JP Crawford, and then they got the young Cole Young who's going to be in there as well. I like it. Ultimately, do I think the Los Angeles Dodgers are three-peating though? Yeah. I think the listen, it's Shohei, it's Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Unless that Mookie Betts, I'll say this. If the Mookie Betts regression last year was real, if Freddie Freeman takes another step back because he's getting older, Max Muncy ends up getting injured. There's a lot of things because like they have like 10 starting pitchers still. So there's a lot of things that kind of have to go wrong for the Dodgers to straight up lose the whole thing because they outmatch everybody by a lot. And we might witness baseball history, and it's not just on the field history; it's front office history. They absolutely, for years they were painted as chokers. For years they were made fun of because of all these crazy deals they would make, and it all led up to these moments here. So you got to remember, like they have been good since like Manny Ramirez was wearing that jersey where they were putting out productive teams on the field all the way until now. All them chokes, all them times that Clayton Kershaw was called a choke artist in the playoffs. It all came down to this. So yeah, we're about 46 minutes into this. We got some people that are in. I only have a couple, more things really to cover. I actually don't got much to cover if I'm being honest, here for this first live stream. Kind of happy that a few people joined. The first like 10 minutes of this, there was like nobody. I was like, I don't know about this, man. Scratching the neck, everything. But hey, we made it. We got a couple people in here on Monday night. We're gonna be doing this every Monday night. Don't forget. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, leave feedback, leave comments, get in tune. I'll be putting up the schedule yet again on the screen shortly. Everything that we are trying to accomplish. But let me see here. I think I'm gonna pull up fantasy rankings, and we're just gonna look at those real quick. Fantasy rankings. Let's see. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, so they got Nick Kurtz ranked as the second best first baseman. Okay. Pete Alonso, Bryce Harper, Miles. I don't think I'm too mad at that list. Vladdy, Nick Kurtz, Pete Alonso, Bryce Harper, Matt Olson as the top 5 first basemen. And then Devers, Freeman, and Naylor to follow. Rice and Soder. Okay, so I'll point this out. Ben Rice as the 10th best first baseman and Tyler Soderstrom as the 11th and even Michael Busch at 12th. That is where I would target your first baseman. I wouldn't waste, and it's not a waste. I don't think guys like Vladimir Guerrero and Nick Kurtz and Pete Alonso are, I don't think they're terrible. But if you miss out on them, I don't think it's a big deal because what you can do is you can come down here and draft even Pasquantino, like Naylor, Pasquantino, Ben Rice, Soderstrom, Busch. I like first baseman. I mean, I like to keep a couple first basemen stashed on the bench as well, just because you never know when you're going to need a hard-hitting guy to put in the lineup. I mean, Christian Walker all the way at 19. I get he had a down year last year, but man, I would bet a lot that he's going to have a bounce back year. And then even as far as going to these two, well, actually these 4 right here, Jake Berger at 25, Spencer Steer at 26, Caglianone at 27, and Nolan Shanuel at 28. If you can't get any first baseman, we play fantasy and we get to that point where, we accidentally don't have a position. If this happens to you for first baseman, I think you'll be okay. I mean, God, Ryan O'Hearn all the way at 32nd. You got options. I mean, there's a lot of options. I mean, Colby Mayo, Bryce Eldridge, Paul Goldschmidt. If I had to say the best value to me, I might have to go Ryan O'Hearn at 32nd. Like, that's ridiculous that he's not even a top 30 first baseman. Like, that's actually kind of insane to me that he would be that low. I mean, a lot of people were talking about how good the Pirates did for signing him. I think there's a lot of value there at 32nd. That is crazy. All right, second baseman. Jazz, they're saying Jazz Chisholm is the best second baseman in the league. Okay. Ketel Marte, who I would have up there. I would not draft Jazz. I mean, it's hard because like he is very injury prone. We can't forget that. So Marte at second, Terang at third. So see, second base is a little bit more of a weaker position. Michael Garcia is just there because he's going to have multiple positions this year. It looks like Gleyber Torres, Jackson Holiday at 15th. Okay, Brendan Donovan at 20th. Okay. Is there any steals outside? Brooks Lee is kind of a steal. I like Brooks Lee that late in the draft. If you absolutely need a second baseman, he should finally get the playing time this year. Christian Moore, if he breaks camp. But I'm gonna have to go a little bit higher. Colt Keith, always a good underrated pick. I think Brendan Donovan at 20th is really good value. The 20th best second baseman. I don't know. I mean, a lot of leagues draft him at 14th, but still, I think for second baseman, Brendan Donovan's going to be the best value there. All right, so third base. All right, so we have Ryan O'Hearn. Why is my screen glitching like this? Ryan O'Hearn. My screen is flipping out. Brendan Donovan, third baseman. What is going on with my screen? Is it the screen share? All right, so third baseman we went through as well. Manny Machado being that deep on the third baseman list stinks. Yeah, even Austin Riley's like fifth over here. You kind of take Jazz Chisholm out off of this list. I think he'll still have that position though. But if we had a steal, Royce Lewis at 13th, I love. Carlos Correa at 20th. Man, has he kind of fallen off, which is sad. I really wanted Carlos Correa to be a big player. All right. You know, I'm going to go Josh Jung at 30th immediately. I mean, listen, Josh Jung. Oh, no, my bad. Nolan Arenado at 37th is crazy. I think Nolan Arenado, he's in Arizona. It's going to be a new place for him. He has to carry a big load of that offense or else they're not going to be that good. I think it's perfect for him on his way out. You know, we're going to get to enjoy the last few years of Nolan Arenado, but I love this fit for him in Arizona. He can kind of lead, be there for guys like Corbin Carroll and Jordan Lawler, you know, show some true good leadership over there. And I think if there's someone, you know, that's going to like push themselves, it's going to be Nolan Arenado. I think at 37th, it's not bad at all. I don't think Jordan Lawler is going to play third base. I think he's either going to be, you know, shortstop, second base, or center field. I see he's getting a lot of reps in center field, but I don't think he's. Yeah, I think Arenado is very good. And if not, I love Josh Jung at 30th. Man, there's a lot of guys buried in these lists. I'm going to have fun drafting this year. All right, so shortstop. Witt, Ellie, and Gunnar. Premier shortstops in this league, man. Trey Turner at 4th. Lindor at 5th. I wonder when Trey Turner becomes a DH. Wow, Zach Nato ahead of Mookie Betts. I love that. Guys, I love Mookie Betts, but I also love Zach Nato a lot. I think he'll be a top 5 shortstop after this year. I think he takes that big of a leap, guys. I am here for Zach Nato. He can listen, his fielding, he has to learn, you know, just a little bit more. Hitting, he is grown fast. I think Zach Nato is going to be a top 5 shortstop this year. That's a very, like I said, as I say, you won't find a place for the more hottest takes. I'm going to go there. Let's see. Mason Wynn at 22nd, I like. Yeah, Ezekiel Tovar, he's high on Yahoo. I don't know how he got so high. Jeremy Pena at 12th. Keep going. Okay, Connor Griffin, 25th. A lot of these other guys that you can slot in. Anthony Volpe at 32nd. I still like Volpe's bat. I think he just needs to leave the Yankees. Sometimes people are just miserable as a Yankee. I would be miserable as a Yankee. But I think the best value that you're going to get, and I love how Michael Garcia is just like on every list. I love that guy. He's such a good player. I'm going to go Jacob Wilson at 16th. I think that is very low for a guy who led the league in. Did he lead the league in hitting? He was first or second until he got hurt. But he had a hell of a first half of his season. Obviously, it won't be as good as that, but they have a good hitting program, development program over there in Las Vegas. So I think that he will be as good, if not maybe just a little bit less. So I like him at shortstop. At catcher, I almost said center. At catcher, Big Booty Cal is far and away first. It's going to be interesting to see where he lands on a lot of these drafts because I wouldn't necessarily spend the first round pick on Cal, but to each their own. I like, Francisco Alvarez at 16th, Basalo at 17th. How low can we get here? It's only going to be like 30. Sorry, listen, Keibert Ruiz, I'm not closing the door on, yo. Keibert Ruiz at 31st, I'm not closing the door on. Harry Ford at 37th, man. He's probably going to be the starter. I can't see a world where Harry Ford is not the opening day catcher for the Washington Nationals. I think him and Keibert Ruiz, one of them is going to be the catcher. One of them is either going to be the DH or the first baseman. I would go with Harry Ford because Keibert Ruiz, his fielding is not there at catcher. And Harry Ford has a wonderful, wonderful bat. Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Harry Ford at 37th is gonna be the best value you're gonna find from a catcher. Point blank, period. He has a lot of maturity at the plate. He's gonna draw walks. He has a lot of pop. He might struggle the first month or two, but I ultimately like it. And then outfield, there's gonna be a lot of guys here, so I'm gonna go deep on this list. Let's see how deep I can go. Okay, we got really bad really quick. Let me scroll up. Okay, Victor Robles at 92. I like Jorge Soler at 91. I like Castellanos all the way up at 89 is crazy above some of these guys. Okay, Evan Carter, I think, is going to be your first steal at the outfield at 79. Listen, the Rangers, they revamped their hitting staff, and they needed to for guys like him and Josh Jung, who I still believe in, Wyatt Langford as well. I think your first steal is going to be Evan Carter right here. Your second steal in the outfield, I'm going to say Jung Ho Lee, 69th outfielder. I think that's crazy. That's like third outfielder for the league, and I think he is a lot more talented than that. This is the last year I'll believe in him, though. I thought he was going to go off last year, but I will reserve it for this year. And then the last one that I would take here for value, do I be a homer and say Dalen Lyle or Dylan Cruz? Nah, but what I will say, because a lot of these guys are pretty properly rated from what I'm seeing. This is good. This third one is good. I'm trying to figure this one out. I'm going to go ahead and say this is tough. All right, you know what? I'll do it. I'm going Dalen Lyle. The 52nd best outfielder in the league, I think, is atrocious. I'm considering that he was basically one of the best players in baseball in the final 2 months of the season last year. I think that's going to continue. He is a dog. As a Washington Nationals fan, he is a dog. He is mature. At the plate, he hits the hell out of the ball. You will not be disappointed if you take a flyer in him as your third outfielder or off the bench. Now, listen, with that, I'll go over pitchers. I'll make a whole thing of it pitching next Monday, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm at 58 minutes. I think I'm going to leave these at an hour, just an hour of talking about baseball. Sometimes we'll have guests. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes it'll just be me. I hope I at least entertained you guys enough talking about baseball. It's going to be a fantastic season. Spring training has been beautiful so far. I love spring. I love seeing the first cracks of the bats, the first pops of the glove. And I'm going to be here with you guys every step of the way. Monday, we just did our baseball stream. Tomorrow, we may or may not have a small episode out. Thursday, you'll have a non-sports episode. Everyone loves our non-sports stuff. It's very funny all the time. We have 2 live streams coming at your way on Friday. And then, of course, Sunday, a different sports show, the staple to everything that we got going on. Listen, I appreciate all you guys, everyone that was here, whether you were here on Instagram, whether you were here on X, whether you were here on YouTube. I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone has a good day, night, wherever you are in the world. I'm out of here. Peace.